Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is A Cause of Impact with Noura. We're back to talk to another guest, an amazing woman who help empowering women to start their own business. She's also working on a new book, and we will talk to her about fear that woman has. But first, let's welcome Catherine. Catherine, welcome to A Cause of Impact with Noura. How are you doing today?
Hi, you're doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on your program today. I'm very excited.
Of course, it's my pleasure to have you. Can I usually like my guests to introduce themselves to other audience, a little bit about your background and what you do?
Absolutely. I'm Catherine Lang Cline, and I was president and CEO of Portfolio Creative for about 20 years before I recently sold it. Prior to that, I was 15 years in marketing, and prior to that, I was an art student. So
Wow.
it's been a lot of career changing throughout my journey, but it always seemed just really right. Just kind of treat it as building blocks to the next thing because I graduated with a degree and then I got into marketing because you can't make money as an artist. And then everything that I learned in marketing then just was adapted to creating this company where I would find jobs for people in marketing and advertising.
So right now you find you find job for people in marketing and advertising, or this is okay.
That is what I did for about 20 years. And like I said,
Uh,
in the last 6 months, I have sold that company. So now I'm on to my next thing,
mm.
um, which is mentorship, helping women start their own businesses and, perhaps getting this all into a book. The book is started, so we got to make sure I can drag that to the finish line.
Oh, that's awesome. So why did you decide to start like helping women start their own business?
Well, it's kind of interesting because when I started my business, everybody said you have to get around other people that own businesses. You can stay in your own vacuum and keep figuring things out. But until you really uh, understand the culture, the cadence, all of that sort of stuff, you have really just kind of created a job for yourself. So one of the organizations I joined practically day one was the National Association of Women Business Owners, which is a nationwide organization. And I met a lot of women that were essentially doing what I wanted to do. So when I kind of came in at that ground level, I had a lot of people to look up to. The longer I was in that group and the more organizations I joined, I found that some women were just kind of stopping short of really growing their business and really staying in that mindset of I've just created a really awesome job for myself, which there's seriously nothing wrong with that. But I think women think I'm going to go on my own, I'm going to open this company, and I end up doing everything. And I might have somebody help me do other things, but I really help women get in that mindset of guess what? You're the president, you're not just the owner. So be the president and hire people to help you achieve your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. Like a lot of us like wants to leave the 9 to 5 just to have 9 to 9 or nine to
Exactly.
result that not we quite not and expect. And
Exactly.
this is true for all of us, like not only women, I guess.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, and that's expected when you first start out. But like I said, the longer I was around some of these women, and I'm talking like a couple of years even, I was really keeping an eye on what some of the real go-getters were doing. And I'm like, oh, well, she's not changing the toilet paper in her own bathroom at the office, which is what I would always do. I was like, it was a nice break for me. Just, oh, I'm going to do the trash and it's like, why are you, and people would ask me, why are you doing that, Catherine? People are looking at you as the president of the company and you're doing just these crazy tasks. So, thus delegating started in my company. and,
yeah.
and I didn't look back after that. It was one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I see like sometimes like there's fear behind all of that because what if I
Yes.
cannot afford to pay these people? What if I don't make enough money to cover the expenses? Like I should be doing everything on my own. Like all of these comes from a fear.
Hmm.
So how do you advise the women that you work with? Like w- how do they overcome that fear and make sure, okay, like let's delegate, let's like find someone else to do this work instead of me.
It is a hard hurdle to get over. I will say that, because it's a place that we haven't been before in a lot of cases. So there is definitely some fear involved. But for me, and what I tell other people too, is if you are getting that busy, you have to start getting help because there's certain things that only you can do. Only you can be like the top salesperson because you have the passion. Only you can be the president. And if you can get somebody who is better at you at accounting, at sales, at marketing, or something like that, um, the faster you grow. You have to start duplicating yourself. You have to start finding other people that are better than you. And as far as the cost, which is always the scariest part, you would be surprised. I don't want to say how little it'll cost, but it's not usually as much as you think. I think people automatically think in terms of I have to pay somebody, $60,000 a year. Break that down into a week. What would you have to pay somebody a week? And you find out it's really not as much as you might think, or it's at least a bite-sized version of what it would be overall. And if you're not making that kind of money per week, then you might want to think about doing some markups because you're probably not charging enough. But it is a little bit of a mindset too. You're just like, once I do this, that changes everything. And it does. And it's for the good. So you have to kind of unplug your fear brain and plug in your logic brain to say, okay, logically, the math works here. Logically, I need help to grow and just take that leap.
Absolutely. I found it in my business, like once I have the intention to do something and take the first step toward, for example, for hiring, like the first thing I would do, like just have a job description. And then
Hmm.
every steps are the way, like takes care of itself. Even though I wouldn't think, oh, I can afford that person for longer term, but I ended up doing that because I freed my time to do things that I only can do. Like you said,
Hmm.
like you are the top salesperson, so when you talk about your products, you know how to navigate through and you know how to make a higher dollar amount sales, and you can grow the business really far. So you can create jobs. Like I guess women, like we love to create opportunities for others, like that motherly figure, like inside of
Yes.
us. We want to take care of people, and this is a way to take care of people, to provide those jobs, like help people and helping yourself. And now you are the CEO of your company.
Yes, and I love that spin that you put on there is how you are actually helping other people. Some of the first people that we hired were women that wanted to still be stay-at-home moms, and they said, if I can get my child on the bus and then come into work and then be home to get them off the bus, then I will work for you. So they might have given us maybe 4 hours in the middle of the day, but they were fantastic. These were women that had careers, great careers, and they decided to take a little break to just take care of their children. I mean, I can totally recommend finding people like that that maybe are caring for parents or children or things like that and just can offer you even just a few hours. It doesn't have to be a full-time role in some cases. You might have to just kind of say, I'm going to slowly delegate this away. The other thing that I really loved, as you said, was making the job descriptions, because that was one of the first things that we did is we wrote down created a job description for every job we thought we needed and then divided them up between two people. So that means I was doing the finance and I was doing the sales and I was doing the customer service, and my business partner was doing a bunch of other things like the operational side of things and HR and all that sort of stuff. And then the minute we could hire somebody or felt comfortable hiring someone either part-time or full-time, we handed that job description to somebody else and say, that's off my plate now, and now somebody else is doing it. But I agree that kind of calculating everything that you need ahead of time is super, super helpful. And because then you start envisioning it too. Someday somebody's going to have this job and it won't be me.
But it is scary. Like sometimes we feel
Oh
like
my
no
goodness,
woman
yes.
gonna do this better than I do. Like how do you help women navigate through that?
Well, I think we immediately get caught up in the, well, what if it fails? What if it just, it totally explodes? Um, it might. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to say chances are if you did your math and like again it all logically makes sense, it will be fine. And if you find that you have someone for a while and you suddenly aren't able to afford them, you unfortunately can let them go in order to, save your business or what have you. But just be always looking at the good of the business, not so much your own fear, but what's going to serve the good of the business. And that sometimes helps you release a little bit of that fear factor that you're dealing with, because you're like, I have to do this. I might be nervous. And then after you've done it a couple times, then it becomes pretty easy after that. But the
Yeah,
first time in anything is always scary.
yeah, absolutely. Like also when you are used to hire like entry level people is different
Mhm.
than when you are now like when someone with experience you bring them a higher value. There's always like first time for everything, and it's
Absolutely.
scary. And fear is good sometimes, like just to help you make sure you're covering all the aspects and making sure you have a plan. What if this happened? Like, then you have it.
Yes.
Like you said, you can always let people go and have that expectation. Like, if you don't help me grow my business, then like I won't be able to keep you even if I want to. So that maybe
Right.
a motivation for the person, like to really make sure that give you the value you hire them for.
Yeah, and just with to add on to that, and it could be a whole separate conversation, is really talk about the expectations that you have too. It's like, here's why I need you, and here's what my expectations are from you. Because then there's no confusion. Because you can hire people and they're not really sure what their job is because you just need another body and you make a quick hire. But really think all of that out. So when you're interviewing them, making sure that they're the right fit, they meet your values, and you will not have any problem.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to come back to you after the break. Guys, this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back.